Ready?
Five.
I will call this meeting of the Washera County Planning and Zoning Committee to order. This meeting will begin with a public hearing. Anyone other than the applicant or their representative wishing to speak must register and submit the registration slip to the zoning administrator at this time. Following the hearing, we'll conduct our monthly business meeting, at which time we'll vote on the applications. You may stay and hear how the applications are decided, or you may leave following the hearing. The applicant and town board will be sent a copy of tonight's decisions. Any other person wishing to receive a copy of a decision can sign the sheet on the table at the front of the room. Those of you wishing immediate knowledge of the outcome of these proceedings may call the county zoning office tomorrow morning. The procedure we will follow for hearing each application is as follows. After the application is read, the applicant, their agent, or representative will be asked to present their application, followed by any questions or comments from the committee. Then all correspondence will be read. Then others in favor will have a chance to speak, as well as anyone objecting will then have a chance to speak also. I will then ask for a summary of the committee's field observations and any staff comments. Finally, the applicant will be allowed a chance for a short rebuttal if they wish. Anyone wishing to speak should use the microphone, state their name, and direct their comments to the committee. I ask that all testimony be kept brief, no more than 5 minutes, and to the point. If you are testifying as a nearby landowner, please tell us where your property is located relative to the subject property. Tonight's hearing will be recorded, and the recordings will become part of the record. Comments that are based on hearsay or secondhand information, as well as slanderous or prejudicial remarks, will be ruled out of order. The committee has looked at the properties, and the record will reflect these observations. Any person affected by an administrative decision of this committee has 10 days from the filing of tonight's decision to make an appeal to circuit court. The county assumes no liability and makes no warranty as to the legality of any construction commenced prior to the expiration of this 10-day period. I will now introduce the committee. To my immediate left, Bart Peterson. In the back corner, Dave Bossard. Pat King next to him. My name is Robert Wadle, and Todd Waller, our zoning administrator, is to my right. First applicant and the only one tonight is Ben Miller, Watoma, Wisconsin, has made an application for a conditional use in accordance with section 58-454, paragraph 30 of the Washera County zoning code to conditionally establish a custom cabinet business in a proposed 40 by 60 garage. An existing 40 by 48 building will be used until the new building is completed. Location, a 3-acre parcel of land being part of the southeast quarter of the southwest quarter, north of County Road Y, section 36, town 19 north, range 9 east, excluding certified survey map 6476, town of Deerfield, address W994 County Road Y. Is the applicant present? 9994, I'm sorry, missed one. County Road Y. You want to come forward to the microphone? Well, we got some questions to ask, and it has to be up there to record it. You want to just tell us kind of, we heard it, but for the procedure, tell us what you're up to? What's going on?
That's what I got in Monroe here. Yeah, this doesn't work here.
Yep, that's good.
Yeah, so I was wanting to put an addition to my shop, and then I discovered that doesn't quite work, and then we decided to go with a new building to put a kitchen cabinet shop up. And so we had the guys out yesterday to look at it and see what it'll take and stuff.
Okay, got a few questions to ask, and then if any of the committee has questions. Are you sure where the lot lines are on your property?
Yeah,
Okay. Have you had a recent survey done?
no,
Have you talked to the town of Deerfield board about this proposed building?
no.
Have you talked to any of the neighbors about the proposed building?
I have already before, but not this term.
Oh, the other buildings, not this new one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Committee have any questions? Dave,
Nope.
Pat,
No.
Bart?
Do not.
All right, you can take a seat for right now. If we have some more questions, you can come back up. Correspondence?
County hasn't, excuse me, the county has not received any written correspondence. However, I did receive a call yesterday from Tom Whaley, the town of Deerfield chair, who stated the town has reviewed this request and poses no objection to the home-based business. We did talk a little bit, though, about the applicant's request for a 2-year delay in terms of construction. Tom did, just as we felt that that timeframe was just a little bit too long. He said he would leave it up to staff in the county in terms of coming up with a reasonable timetable. And you'll see, as I talk about later on in the staff report, this has kind of been probably the biggest topic having to deal with the home-based business. And we're going to recommend a time period that's more in the realm of about 1 year. And you'll see as I talk about the staff report, but
Anyone wishing to speak in favor?
we have no registrants for favor, objecting, or even informational.
Okay, staff comments.
Okay, everyone should have a copy of the final staff report in front of you. As stated, summary of request is the applicant is requesting a conditional use to establish a custom cabinet business in a proposed 40 by 60 garage. The existing 40 by 48 building will be used until the new building is completed in an AG, general agricultural 3-acre minimum zone in the town of Deerfield. I'd like to point out that this is an after the fact request. For it was on about May 6th of 2021 that our zoning office actually went out there to conduct an on-site to look at an additional driveway. It was at that point that we noted that there was an existing cabinet business being operated out of the existing garage. It was shortly thereafter, we did notify Mr. Miller that of the need to not only receive a conditional use approval, but that most likely he's going to need commercial building permits to operate the business. I know I've had several meetings with Mr. Miller, gave him a list of local architects and architects in and around the area in which to have the building evaluated to see whether or not the existing garage can be renovated. We talked about the conditional use process. And I can say it did lag on, for a little bit. Over the past year, I know he's met with a couple of these architects, gone through a number of renditions, had the building inspected. However, no plans have really come to fruition. It wasn't until recently that he hired Mr. Leroy Stablowski. He's a local architect and also past building inspector for the state of Wisconsin. And it was at his recommendation that he just abandon those plans and look at building a new structure. And that's at the point where the plans you have before you is a new structure, kind of in the proximity of, I guess, out in front of the old garage near the residence. The committee visited the property at the recent onsite on Wednesday and were generally supportive of the request. They felt that a home-based business at this location was consistent with similar home-based businesses recently approved and would not be expected to generate any significant amount of traffic. They did discuss, as we did, the 2-year request in which to build a new facility, and a committee concurred with the concerns and recommendations of staff and others and believed that a 1-year timetable was more reasonable. Staff's reviewed this request and believes that a home-based business at this location is consistent with similar requests and should in no way alter the agricultural residential use of the property. While the committee will be making a recommendation on this request later in the evening, staff is recommending approval of the conditional use request as listed in your staff report, subject to the conditions listed. I would like to point out condition number 8. We are recommending that the applicant contact the building inspector and apply for permits, building permits, commercial building permits within 1 year of the date of the conditional use approval.
Okay, thank you. This time, I'll ask for a motion to approve or deny the request.
Well, let's just close that and we'll go on to the meeting.
Okay. Got ahead of
Does
myself.
he have any rebuttal? You might want to ask him.
Do you have anything else to say, Ben? Okay. I'll move into the agenda then. Roll call. Show that all present except John, and he's been excused. Motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Is there a second? Second. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion is carried. Approval of the minutes of the last meeting.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. New business, action on the public hearing. What are your wishes, gentlemen?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
For the motion and a second, someone like to read the possible reasons for approval?
I'll read that.
All right,
The requested application, if approved, will be consistent with the spirit and intent of the zoning code and will not be contrary to the public interest because, one, after reviewing the application and considering all related testimony, the application, if approved with conditions, will not harm the public or neighboring land uses. There was no testimony in opposition. Three, visibility is good at the driveway location and traffic is generally slowed here. There are no public safety issues. And the proposal matches the lot and available area.
right, conditions?
Therefore, the requested application, if approved, the following conditions shall apply. Excuse me. The development must be in substantial compliance with the site plan and testimony provided at the public hearing. All other required setbacks and all other codes must be complied with. All permits must be obtained, including land use, building, and sanitary if needed. Adequate parking must be provided. The existing driveway shall meet all required codes, including fire and access code requirements to provide for access by emergency vehicles. In addition, the driveway shall provide good visibility and a turnaround area to prevent backing onto the road. Any future drive shall be reviewed by both zoning and the county highway superintendent as to justification or need as well as location. The applicant will allow agents of Waushara County access to the property to ensure compliance with all applicable regulations. If the building has any floor drains, the applicant is responsible for checking with the DNR to determine how the wastes are to be collected and disposed of. The applicant shall contact the county building inspector within 1 year of the conditional use approval and comply with their recommendations and the adopted building code, including adequate sanitary facilities. As it has been determined that commercial building codes apply, all commercial plans, building, HVAC, etc., shall be submitted and approved within 1 year of the date of the notice of decision. An occupancy permit shall not be issued until such time that all commercial plans and inspections have been approved. Failure to comply with these requirements will result in a recommendation to rescind the conditional use approval. The applicant is responsible for complying with any other applicable regulations. No more than 4 employees outside of the immediate family are permitted. All advertising signs must be in accordance with all county and state requirements. All hazardous and toxic materials, including oils, varnishes, etc., shall be stored and handled in accordance with state and federal requirements. And any exterior storage shall be stored behind a solid fence so that such storage is not visible from public roads or neighboring properties.
Thank you. I will now ask for a verbal approval. Bart,
I approve.
Dave,
I approve.
Pat,
I approve.
myself approve. The variance is granted. Anything, any other extensions?
Nope, have no other extensions.
Action Minor changes?
No minor changes.
Anything for next month yet?
Okay, 2 travel trailers.
Travel trailers?
Yep.
All right, you gave us a financial report yesterday. Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We are adjourned. Thank you, ladies. Jeez. Yep. How's that, Mr. Kelly? You're hired.
All set? Here we go. Evening, everybody. I'll call this meeting of the Shore County Board of Adjustments to order. This meeting will be conducted in the same manner as the applications heard by the Planning and Zoning Committee. Please remember to keep your comments brief and relative to the matter at hand. The same time limits will apply to testimony, which is 5 minutes for the applicant outside of committee questions and 3 minutes for other testimony, including any rebuttal by the applicant. Anyone other than the applicant or the representative wishing to speak at the hearing must have registered. Anyone who has not should do so immediately and submit the registration slip to the zoning administrator. The board has looked at all of the properties and a record will reflect these observations. Following the public hearing, the board will conduct their monthly business meeting, at which time we will vote on the applications. You may stay and hear how the applications are decided, or you may leave following the public hearings. Any person affected by an administrative decision of this board has 30 days from the filing of tonight's decision to file an appeal. Such appeals are heard by the Waushara County Circuit Court. Information on appeals is available from the Clerk of Court's office and qualified legal counsel. The county assumes no liability and makes no warranty as to the legality of any construction commenced prior to the expiration of this 30-day period. I'll now introduce the board. Back row far in the corner over there, Jess Urban, George Peterman next to him, Dave Williams, John Shirk, and I'm Kevin Fitzgerald and our zoning administrator, Todd. We have 3 variance requests tonight. The first one, Todd and Allison Gleisner, Fremont, Wisconsin, have made application for a variance in accordance with sections 58-235 sub 5 sub A of the Waushara County Zoning Code to exceed the building envelope of a single-family dwelling to increase the pitch of the roof from 11 feet 6 inches to 14 feet 6 inches. Non-conforming due to less than half the required setback to South Silver Lake Road in the RS20 residential single-family zone within the shoreland area location. A parcel of land being part of Government Lot 2, Section 7 T18N R11E, Town of Marion, Silver Lake, fire number W7084, South Silver Lake Road. Will the applicant please come forward? Good evening. Please state your name
Allison Gleisner.
and tell us what you want to do over there a little bit.
Yeah, so we, back in August, got a land use and building permit for the property, that was mentioned there. And we are remodeling it, and bringing it up to code, from tip to tail. And we submitted drawings with our permit. And with that drawing, the pitch of the roof is inclining approximately 2 feet, or 2 feet, 10 inches, whatever it may be, but close to that. But other than that, the footprint doesn't change. We're just asking that we raise it, a few feet to kind of better improve the water runoff, in that area, given the fact the property is so close to the lake.
Okay, I've got some questions and some of the committee members may have a question for you. Has there been a recent survey?
Not that I know of.
Do you know where the lot lines are?
I've seen one side of the, what do they call those markers? I know where
Okay.
that one is.
So do we know where the road right of way is?
Yes.
Okay. Have you talked to the town, county, and the state about this?
The town of Marion, yes.
Okay. Erosion and stormwater runoff, how are you gonna deal with that if there's an increased amount of runoff?
So the gutter system, there right now, the current structure has no gutters at all, or just the original structure. So we plan to putting a gutter system to run it away from the lake, into the roadway, which
Okay.
has natural runoff there.
The foundation is already there, correct?
Correct.
You're gonna remove some part of a slab alongside the building or something, or
Yes.
concrete that was on a,
Yes.
if you're
there's a-
looking at the lake on the right side, there was some old busted up concrete that's being removed?
Yes, yep.
Okay,
There used to like a lean-to shed on the top of it.
Okay.
And so we're removing that, and putting gravel down in there instead.
so the existing grade would be same as it is now, no filling or grading done. Finished height less than 35 feet, right?
Correct.
Any other improvements planned?
Well, but structurally, no. I mean, inside we've got, like I said, it'll be down to studs. So it's all new electrical, all new wire, or plumbing, all new windows, all new doors.
Okay.
But structurally, there's no additions or anything to it.
All the other setbacks will be met because the building's been there. Do we know how old that building is?
1932.
Yeah.
And I think it started as like a 200 square foot spot and has grown over the years.
We looked through the window, we could see where there was concrete poured and
Yeah.
over the years. You're on city sewer there, right?
Correct.
Silver Lake Sanitary District.
Yep.
Parking's a problem.
Yes.
There's no room for turnaround. You have to back onto that road.
Correct. Yep.
Can't park in the back there because it's trailer parking, or you gotta have a permit at the
Correct,
public
yep.
landing. Not much you can do there. It's the way it is. Any other options at that property?
Nope.
Yeah. What's the hardship? Besides old and the corner posts that are there, the old wooden electric poles, was put in years ago from what we understand to
Correct.
protect the building, but I don't know how long those have been in there, but what is your hardship? Just,
As I say, I think we have it stated in the application itself. But like, again, for us, it was the original pitch of the roof was not conducive for proper water runoff. So if you, like, there's a concrete slab on the lake side of it, and you can see that the roof was caved in there and it was running onto the concrete and eroding away at that concrete wall that was essentially shoring up the lake, or the seawall, if you will, of the lake.
do you know what permits you need? You do now, right?
Well, we
You
submitted.
took a permit out for what?
We took a permit out for remodeling, and we submitted drawings, and those are the drawings that were built to. So I made the assumption that if there was an additional variance made at the point of permitting, that would have been notified, because the drawings that you were submitted for the permit is what you see on the property today. We haven't varied from the
Right.
drawings that were submitted during the permitting process.
They've already started, so when would you restart with the project if this was approved?
As soon as y'all would say it's okay. I mean, if there's anything else that's needed, we're happy to do that. And we would have done this on the front side of his head. Had that we known. But I made the assumption that when we submitted the permit, submitted the drawings, you know, there was an onsite done at the time of permitting, that if this was an issue, that we would have done it then.
Yeah.
So I apologize for that, but
All right, Jess, George, questions? Dave, John?
I just have it's more of a curiosity question. So very happy to hear you're gonna have gutters. So when the water runs to the south, which is what you have planned towards the road, where does it go after it gets to the road?
so from what I can tell, and I'd have to be out there, there is a runoff on the back side of where that parking is, where that ramp parking is.
Yep.
And then that runs into the marsh area, which is on the other side of, was that 76 or?
Okay, so it'll be natural flow.
Yeah, it's a
from your
natural
gutters
runoff into
across
there,
the
yes.
road, across
There's
the
not,
parking
there's
area.
not like sewer runnage off there, but the way that when we've been out there and have seen when it's been raining and stuff, there, it piles up on the back side of where that parking lot is. And then there's that marshland right back there. So I'm
For your
assuming it's a
information, the
natural.
town's gonna redo that parking lot in the spring.
Well, that's exciting.
So I don't know what they're gonna do with the water that always backs up there, but I know that's what they wanna get rid of. So.
Right.
Anything else? Okay, please have a seat and then you'll have a rebuttal if you need it. Correspondence.
Okay, county hasn't received any correspondence and there's nobody registered to speak in favor, objecting, or informational.
Staff comments.
Okay. I furnished everyone with a copy of the final draft reports for all of the applications tonight. Just want to give a quick summary of the request. The applicants are requesting a variance to exceed the building envelope of an existing non-conforming single-family dwelling to increase the height of a home from 11.6 to 14.6, and non-conforming due to the home being set back less than half of the required building setback to South Silver Lake Road in an RS20 zone in the shoreland area of the town of Marion. This goes back to August. I'm going to give a little clarification in terms of the permit submittal, what we received as well as the building inspector. In August, it was noted on the drawings that they were looking to upgrade and replace siding, shingles, and windows. Yes, we were provided with an elevation that did show a pitch of, I believe, 612. But it's, or I think it was either 412 or 612, but regardless, I went to the building inspector and verified what all he had in that there were no truss details, nothing additional. Actually, some of the additional improvements that were made inside in terms of moving around walls, enlarging rooms, those weren't even depicted on his plans. So I think we're all in, you know, in the, I guess I'm in the same order, I guess, that we now know what it is that you wish. And I know the building inspector, I believe, has talked to you in terms of what additional information he's going to need, truss details, truss calculations, and so forth, which is standard for any time you replace a roof. So that's basically where we sit with the construction. Board did visit the property at the recent onsite on Monday. We're generally supportive of the variance request. The board did not feel that an increase in building height of 3 feet would harm the public interest nor impair views of the water by adjoining properties. The board, however, did have concerns regarding any stormwater runoff from the home, given the proximity to the water. The board did recommend that staff include a condition, which is within the report here, requiring gutters and downspouts to the home and that all water be directed away from the lake. Staff is very supportive of the request. We do not believe an increase in the height from 11.6 to 14.6 will have a detrimental impact. Given the snow loads of this area, the original pitch of 312 probably is something that's very uncommon around here. A pitch more realistic or more common is one of 412 to 612. And for that, staff is recommending approval of the variance to exceed the building envelope of an existing non-conforming single-family dwelling, subject to the conditions listed in your report.
I have one question, Todd.
Yes.
the building inspector is involved with the trusses and everything else. Is he involved with the electrical work and everything? All
Absolutely.
the other permits they'll need for? that?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Any questions of Todd?
I have none.
Any rebuttal needed?
I would just like to go on record that. I would like to go on record that there was, the drawings that had the elevation and the room sizes was sent to the county on August 9th, via email, and the permit was admitted on August 16th. So there was a copy that was made available to the county on August 9th.
The foundation work wasn't reflected on the drawings, and that which the building inspector identified once we went out and did inspections. The truss details, there was never any indication that the roof pitch was changing from the 312 to the 612 or 412, what it is now. And that's why I say that, and my understanding, and that's talking with the building inspector, is that there was some more modifications made interior wise that weren't reflected on the drawings. And I think we're all up to speed now in terms of what needs to be done.
Okay, just as long as we've got the current copy, because
Yep.
like I said, we were,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay. Our second variance, Thomas and Kathleen Langsford, Woodstock, Illinois, have made an application for variance in accordance with section 58-235 sub 5 sub A of the Washara County zoning code to exceed the building envelope of a single-family dwelling to allow construction of a 16-foot by 22.35-inch addition to an existing non-conforming 22-foot by 51-foot single-family dwelling, non-conforming due to less than half the required setback to the north lot line in RS20 residential single-family zone within the shoreland area, location of parcel of land known as part of government lot 3, Lindbergh Resort Plat Lot 29, section 18, T19N R09E, Town of Deerfield, fire number N3945, 7th Drive. Will the applicant or his representative please come forward? Evening. State your name for the record, please.
My name is Rick Buckholt. My business is,
Tilt that up a little bit. You're a tall guy.
my name is Rick Buckholt. Cornerstone Builders is my business.
Please tell us what you want, the family would like to do there and what you plan.
They would like to extend towards the road away from the lake. The width of the building, which is 22 foot plus, out 16 feet. They want to create a bedroom for the master bedroom and a bathroom and a small laundry. Sorry, I don't have much voice left today.
Okay. Well, I have some questions for you.
Sure.
Has there been a recent survey?
Yes,
So we know where the lot lines are.
precisely.
What about the neighbors in the town? Have we talked to them?
No, I have not. Well, I talked to them over the fence, but yeah.
Okay, not the town?
No.
Okay. Type of foundation are we talking about?
4-foot block frost wall, crawl space.
Any existing grade change?
No,
Any filling or grading?
just to get a slight taper away from the block,
Finish height,
height of the cottage.
less than 35 feet.
Oh, yes, the exact same
Okay.
roof line
I
picture
just got to put that in the record.
continues out, yes.
Erosion or stormwater runoff, how are we going to deal with that?
We'll extend the gutters that are already there.
Okay, silt fence during construction?
Right.
Okay. Any other improvements planned at this time?
No, just the connecting of the house,
Setbacks met?
not to the north side, no. The existing cottage, it sits on a 55-foot wide lot and the cottage is 22 foot. So we already are short.
There's no 15 feet on either side, is there?
No, there's not.
It's closer to one side than the other, and that's the problem.
Yes, it's about 7 foot or a little less after the 16-foot extension,
Septic system is rated for what? How many bedroom?
2-bedroom,
Huh?
2.
Two?
And we're not adding any bedrooms. We're just taking what is there now and moving it into a larger area.
You're not adding a bedroom.
We're taking out, right now, there's a 8 by 10 bedroom. And there's a small little bunk room.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. And so they're planning on spending the summers up here now that they're
Alright.
older. And they want to be able to have their own bedroom.
I didn't see any non-conforming structures out there, did we?
No.
No. You have other options there.
I talked with Todd about it this week, and he mentioned the fact that we could build underneath their overhang on the lakeside,
Yep.
which would, I suppose, is feasible. It's not what they want at all. What they're looking for now is to take, which is basically a summer cottage flop house where all their family would come up for a week or 2 weeks, and then they'd go home and maybe come up for a couple weekends. Well, now Tom has got Alzheimer's starting. He wants to spend his last years up here as much as he can, and he wants to do it in a normal house, not just a cottage. That's why they want the larger bedroom and a master bath,
But there's other options besides that.
such as,
Do nothing
yes, which would,
or tear it down and build in the middle. Correct? So
they
you
don't have the finances for that.
Okay.
I know you're not
But-
concerned
but-
about that,
but-
but yeah.
those are some of the options. There's always other options, and those are some of the other options. And the hardship is what?
Hardship is a lot is so narrow, and there's really no cost-effective way to do what they want to do. Their budget-
In 2007, they got it, they used the
Yeah,
variance.
I built
And
that.
they maxed out on that.
mhm.
So they're trying to get another variance where they're already maxed out on the property. Is that correct, or am I wrong?
Well, that's what Todd spoke to me, yes. I did the building in 2007. So I was the one who was here applying for the variance for them back then too.
There's property limitations,
Mhm,
being too close to the lot line and the narrowness of the lot.
mhm.
You're a builder, you know what the permits are. When would this project start if it was approved?
Well, probably now I'd have to wait till spring. It's a 5-week project.
I think the committee has some questions for you. John?
Yeah, I do. Rick, have the Lansfords considered, rather than, and I know it's an age-related thing, rather than move towards the road, take what you have, the patio and the overhang, and making that into year-round living space and not
I
having,
had not considered that, no, and had not presented it to them either. But Todd and I spoke, and he said that's one of you, maybe it was you, made the recommendation that that might be a possibility.
Yep. So my thinking, Rick, is, and I understand the addition and why,
Mhm.
but rather than go towards the road, you already have the available area, plus you have a structure,
Mhm.
and you can add on to that structure without needing a variance, if I'm correct.
The 7 foot,
Yes.
not the
Yeah.
patio.
No, I understand that. And I was just curious what the Lansford would think of doing that rather than moving everything towards the road.
I would have to run it by them. But the concern I have is the center section
Yes,
has no crawl space. It is a
on a
poured,
slab.
well, no, it's a poured concrete wall, but it only goes down like 30 inches. And it's just a trench. So we have no way of connecting all this stuff through. It'd have to be handwork. It'd have to be somebody who'd have to either crawl underneath it. Quite honestly, it'd be easier to tear it down and do it again.
Oh,
I used to do those a lot when I first started, but I'm 65, John.
I know. Don't talk to me about being 60.
Well, we had just observed when we were there that, building out where you don't even need a variance, towards that that covered space would also alleviate having to move all the utilities that are currently, mounted onto the roadside of the house now. There's the electrical comes in there and
Yeah.
the,
I think it's electrical and just the cable.
yeah.
But there's an expense if you would build on the back of the house to relocate all the power and everything coming in there and the box and the electric system inside the house.
Very much less.
Dave brought that to our attention when we were there, the expenses there.
Mhm.
So,
I know it would necessitate moving everything around on the inside. I get that. And I know it, I sympathize with the difficulty of getting from point A to point B when it's addition, old and addition.
Yeah.
But the space in the front probably won't have plumbing involved if you use that 7 foot, correct?
They need to have a bathroom.
Yep.
They have to have
Well,
another bathroom.
I'm looking at if, and not being able to have been inside, though, if that front to the lakeside would be the great room or where you're gonna view the lake and all the changes, plumbing wise, bathroom, bedroom happens and, it's necessitating moving everything around. I understand that. But would they perhaps be receptive to that?
I don't know.
If, rather than find out that they're treading water and losing ground, to consider the possibility of no variance and the things you could do for them on the inside, because there's going to be a substantial cost to move the utilities. They don't do that for less than a couple.
$1,200.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be more than that, but just the two of them, and he won't be crowding that septic, which is a concern. I see they had a stake there where they
Yeah,
stayed
I
far
put
enough
that
away
right.
from the septic, but even with a 4 foot crawl space, the overdig can get huge sometimes. It just seems that maybe they could consider an option that may work if they would take that into consideration.
Without talking to them, I can't answer, but
I can't speak for them, I understand, but
what I would like to say is that they still have large family that comes up. And that room that you've seen on the lakeside, they have cots, they have inflatable beds.
I hear you, but sometimes
They
small
fill that
properties
whole thing up.
outgrow families.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
the state doesn't allow us, Supreme Court decisions don't allow us to take cost or an increase in size of families into the variance process.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think part of our discussion, and
Speak in the microphone, please,
I
George.
think part of what sort of needs to be understood is that when we deal with variances, we're looking at more need than want, and not only the need and want, but is there anything else that you could do besides coming before us and asking for
Mhm.
that relaxation? And that's where we sort of had that discussion where there is something else, we could do, or they could do, the Lansfords, by using that existing area that's already been granted by variance and moving that way. And then that way, they don't have to come back before us and ask for the sort of last resort permission to do something that they want rather than to get that equally just by using what's already been granted. And I know what you mean about, utilities and having to run underneath the foundation and all that. But I think, if they moved towards the lake, still kept that living space or expanded the bedroom that way, kept the utilities all on that one side of the house, yet just built out a bigger bathroom on that side of the house. There's possibilities, I guess. And that's sort of where our discussions were going the other day when we were out there. And again, without talking to them, we don't know what their comfort level is with that, nor do we know if, without taking a detailed look at it, what the hardship might be going that way, besides running, stuff underneath the foundation.
Has impervious surfaces, is that a concern?
What, Dave?
Is impervious surfaces a concern with the addition?
No.
Because that doesn't change if they use the front 7 feet.
Correct.
Okay.
I do have a question too, though. I may?
Yeah, go ahead, Rick.
Go ahead.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to be out of order.
No.
There really is no detriment to the neighbors. There's no detriment to the
Yeah.
traffic going by there. It's a lot, not hurting the person on the north side because they're 7 feet and they've always been 7 feet and they got outbuildings right up against their lot line.
Okay.
And it's like, okay.
I, I get that,
Yeah.
but they already maxed out with a variance. When does it stop for this, his department or for us, that if they had a variance, we'll give a variance, then do we give the next owners that ever take it over, they want to do something else, another variance? Where does it end?
Well, that's the way we call it.
That's
a
why we're here.
variance.
That's
why we
why,
call it a
that's why you're
variance.
here and we're here.
Right,
But-
for making exceptions.
We can't tell you how to build it. I mean, but people here have been around and we see different stuff and good questions come up. We were there a long time. We were there as long,
I'd have met you.
huh?
Wish I'd have known I'd have met you out there.
Yeah, we were there Monday. That was the longest place we were at, the 3 properties. I mean, and there was a lot of discussion there. So you could tell just by the questions of the board, so.
And I
Anything
don't-
else?
I don't like the option of saying, just tear it down and build new. I understand that that's exorbitant
Not wealthy
costs right now.
people.
And I know that it's an option that sure we got to throw at you. I don't want to put the gun to anybody's head on that either. That's tough.
Right.
Especially with the cost of things and lead times and all that. But I think it bears consideration if they would hear you out on trying to deal with the footprint you have. If it can at all possibly work in your wisdom and magician stuff inside, move things around. If we can keep plumbing from the lakeside, that saves some of the cost because plumbing already exists in that back where
I'm
they
sure I
want.
can design something.
I mean,
that will work.
I think it'd be worth a shot rather than finding themselves dead in the water.
I just don't know what I'm going to be able to do with it.
Right. I mean, but
You're a builder, you know.
right. I
How
mean,
do I get it through,
I sympathize with that, but
4 inches of space?
we also
And-
have to be very fearful of that terrible word precedent. And when you've maxed out and then come back again, and that I'm not fond of that word a lot of times either. But from an administrative standpoint, when you look at that, that becomes difficult to navigate when something goes and it becomes a chain reaction. We maxed once, but you can get another variance, and there's nothing that says you can't keep trying to do that. But as Kevin alluded to, where would it end? I mean, if we max there, let's try maxing again. Maybe we'll make it. And that's a tough position to be put in administratively, I believe.
All those little bitty cottages on these
I know,
lakes.
and
We
you deal with them over there. I deal with them on Gilbert Lake,
Right.
the 49-foot wide lots and 50-foot wide lot.
Yeah.
In the old days, when people outgrew their place, they sold it and bought a bigger place. But now you can't find anything, so that's what they're trying to piggyback onto the old buildings, so.
I know.
I don't have anything else. Anybody else? Have a seat and then they'll have a rebuttal. We'll go through this stuff just like we did the previous ones. Correspondence?
Okay, we haven't received any correspondence and there's nobody registered to speak in favor, objecting, or informational. There is a Mr. Walters. I don't know if, Mr. Walters, can you hear us? Walters has been on, but I didn't know if he was to speak on this one or. Mr. Walters? Okay. I'm not going to belabor.
Staff comments?
Yep, I'm not going to belabor a lot of the points that were, brought up. It's just staff has reviewed this request and does raise concern over the fact the applicants have previously received a variance to expand a non-conforming structure and are now seeking a very similar variance to expand yet again. We recognize the fact that the standards and the allowances in 2007 were slightly different. It was percentage of valuation of the home versus percentage of square footage. But it all comes down to the fact that, the applicants are now seeking to compound the nonconformity of an old pre-code structure. The board visited the property at the recent onsite on Monday, and they voiced genuine concern over the proposal as well. We all reviewed the history of the home and felt that there were other options available without having to compound. In addition, we looked at the overall length of the house. The house would go from roughly 51 feet in total length. That's excluding the deck, to now with deck over 72 feet in length. Considerable length for a non-conforming structure over almost only 6 feet off the property line. Now, I know in our staff report, staff is, in fear of precedent. We're also making a recommendation for denial of the variance. However, if the applicant wishes, we would amend that to tabling this request to allow us an opportunity to sit down and maybe look. And of course, we'd have to get the applicants involved, the homeowners involved, to see if they'd be willing to negotiate and look at other options. And with that,
I agree with that. It's better than to deny it right away.
Do you need a motion on that?
Well, we'll wait till we
We
go
gotta
to our
wait till the
business meeting.
meeting.
But we can have discussion on it, but, yeah, if you deny the variance, they can't do anything for a year except do the 7 foot, just come with a permit, so I don't have any problem with that.
And I'm sure, Rick, you're going to want an opportunity to look to and talk to them to see what all you can do. I don't even know if they're aware of the fact they can build out that 7 foot underneath the eave. And then move some, I know they want a larger bedroom. That living room is pretty expansive. It covers almost half the house. Go out towards the lake, maybe bring that wall towards the lake versus towards the street and enlarge their, bathroom, all interior wise. I know that's going to result in, disrupting the entire house, but I mean, those are the types of options that maybe we need to sit down and talk about if you're willing to do that.
Any rebuttal? Okay. All right, we'll go to our third one. Gary Christensen, Fremont, Wisconsin, has made an application for a variance in accordance with sections 58-542 sub C sub 2 and 58-826 sub C and 58-903 sub D of the Washera County zoning code to construct a 32-foot by 26-foot, 3-bedroom, single-family dwelling on a concrete slab to come within 25 feet of the center line of County Road H, 35-foot average to come within 28 feet of ordinary high water mark, 49.5 foot average, and to come within 11 feet of a property line, 15 feet required. A parcel of land being part of government lot 1, all being part of the northeast 1/4 of the southeast 1/4 of section 36. T20N R13E, Town of Bloomfield, fire number W131 County Road H. We met with the applicant on Monday and he said he was going to be here and I don't see him here today. Have we received any correspondence?
No.
Phone calls?
Nope.
Nothing.
So we have the option of proceeding without the applicant, or we can table it and allow the applicant to come and justify his variance in the January meeting.
I think I'd like to have somebody here. Otherwise, that'll set a precedence with people not showing up.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Since the applicant isn't here, we will conclude the public hearing for this. He's not on there, right? We don't have the applicant, just to make sure. You can't mute it, huh? Okay,
And you did send some correspondence, and did he respond back? Okay.
all right. All right, that'll conclude the public hearing and we'll go right into our business meeting. Roll call showed 5 of us here. I need a motion for the approval of the agenda, please.
So moved.
Jess,
I'll
second.
second.
George, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion